Myself, Dr. Himawati Rawalji, Resident Department of Pharmacology. Today we are going to discuss the P-drug concept. So, what is exactly a P-drug? Before going into detail, learning objectives are, at the end of the lecture, you should be able to describe the concept of P-drug, describe the process of preparing a list of P-drug, prepare a list of P-drugs for any condition, and differentiate between what is a P-drug and what are essential drugs. So, introducing. So, P-drug is nothing but a personal drug. What is a personal drug? These are the drugs that you are going to prescribe regularly and with which you will become familiar. These are called P-drug or personal drugs. Basically, if the P-drug consists of name of a drug, dosage form, the dosage schedule, and duration of treatment for any specific condition. To understand this more clearly, scenario, for example, there is a person who is sick, so he will go to the doctor. As this person goes to the doctor have to prescribe him medicine. Now, for any particular condition, there are variety of medicines available. There are variety of groups of medicine as well as variety of brands available for medicine. So, writing a prescription is a complex procedure. Choosing a right drug is basically a difficult task. So, what should we take into consideration while preparing a P drug? So, there are certain criteria about how we can select a P drug. Before that, you have to keep a certain things in mind, like your P drug should not be based uh, on the recommendation given by your clinical teachers or your senior or junior colleagues or even a sales representative. This should be strictly avoided. The P drugs should be your own selection, because when one has one's own set of P-drug, it can help in learning to handle pharmacological concepts and drug-related data in effective manner. Apart from that, in certain cases, if you cannot prescribe the pre-drug, you'll know that which alternatives you can prescribe in place of them. Finally, the last responsibility of the patient well-being lies with the physician, with you. So you have to take special care in selecting the drug that you are going to prescribe. And also, the most important point is the latest and the most expensive drug, it is not necessary that is the best or safest or more cost effective. So what factors should we take into consideration while selecting a P drug? So there are various factors. Some of them are the efficacy of the drug, how effective is the drug for that specific condition, the safety of the drug, what side effects can a drug cause, the suitability of the drug, whether the drug is available in proper dosage form or proper formulation to give it to the patient, and the cost of the drug. The comparison of the cost of various drugs present in the same group of or the different groups, they will help us in selection of our personal drugs. So so there is a predefined procedure with the help of which we can select our personal drug. These are as below. First, we will define the diagnosis, followed by which we'll specify the therapeutic objective dependent on the specific condition of the patient. Followed by, we'll make an inventory of effective group of drugs in that particular condition. After that, we'll choose an effective group according to the criteria depending on various factors that which we discussed earlier. And finally, from then we can choose a P drug depending on that condition. Moving forward, I'll give you an example so that you can clearly understand how we can select a P drug. So here's an example. An adult male is having complaint of vomiting due to food poisoning. So you have to prepare and explain a list of P drug for this condition. Step 1, defining diagnosis. So the patient that is coming to us is with vomiting. We ascertain that this vomiting is due to food poisoning. Now, what happens in food poisoning is it causes the stimulation of vomiting center in chemotractor zone and nucleus tractus solitarius, that is the central vomiting center. So we have to choose the drugs that are effective at this particular site. We have to specify the therapeutic objective for what we have to exactly do to treat the patient. So as the patient has come to us with nausea and vomiting, we have to give him relief from these symptoms. How will it be possible? We have to use anti-emetic drugs that will curb the vomiting. Are the so with this so we move to the step 3, which is making an inventory of effective groups. So which are the groups of anti-emetics that are available to us? So these are anticholinergics like hyoscine and dicyclomine. There are H1 antihistaminics like promethazine. There are D2 blockers like chlorpromazine. We have prokinetic agents like metoclopramide. We have 5-HT antagonists like ondansetron, granisetron. We have NK1 receptor antagonists, they are apripipritant. Now, if we take into consideration in which condition the particular group drug is effective, will be able to reach our P drug. So, choose an effective group based on criteria. Our criteria was efficacy, safety, suitability, and cost. So, we'll see them each in detail. First, efficacy. Among the given groups in our condition, D2 blockers, prokinetic agents, and 5-HT3 antagonists are comparatively more effective in food poisoning induced vomiting. If we look at the safety, there are several side effects related to D2 blockers and prokinetic agent limiting their use in certain conditions. The 5-HT3 antagonists have milder side effects and can be preferred in this particular situation. For suitability, if we are suitability basically depends on individual choice of the physician, but as we can see that H5HT3 antagonists are comparatively safer, and as well as they are available orally as well as parenterally, they are highly suitable in this particular condition. And if we compare the cost of treatment of other groups, that is 5-HT3 antagonists with other groups, they are comparatively cost effective, as well as if we consider the various drugs present in this group like ondansetron, granisetron, pelenositron, we'll find that ondansetron is a cheaper option, which gives which now we move to the choosing a P drug. During the choice of a P drug, you have to take care to select the active substance, that is the main drug, as well as the dosage form, either oral or parenteral, depending on the condition of the patient. So, as we already discussed that there is granisetron in 5-HT antagonist, it is comparatively more potent, but it is also costly. There is palanosatron, which has comparatively longer duration of action, but ondansetron, it is cost effective as well as efficacious, and hence it will be our drug of choice for this particular condition. How we can give ondansetron? It is available as orally as mouth dissolving tablets. Parenterally, it is available as IV iron injection. In this case, we have no need for injections. We can simply give tablet ondansetron 4 milligram twice daily for 2 days, and then as and when required. So in this way, we can choose a P drug depending on a specific condition. So now you have an idea of the concept of the P drug. Apart from that, one more thing that you have to keep in mind, P drug is not essential drug. These both are different concepts. P drug, it is a basically personal drug, which is personally selected drug list for specific condition by the physician. The essential drug, it is a drug list which is based on the public health needs of a particular region. The idea, the concept was put forward by WHO, World Health Organization, and it is available to us as National List of Essential Medicines in India. The personal drug that a physician selects can be a part of NELM, cannot be a part of NELM. It depends on the physician's own experiences. All right. So I'll give you one more example to thoroughly understand how you can select a P drug. Basically here, a pregnant woman complains that she has constipation. So you have to prepare and explain a list of P drugs for her condition. So as previously, we'll follow all these steps and we'll take into consideration all the factors in selecting the P drug for this condition. So as you can see here, step 1 is diagnosing. So defining the diagnosis, in this case, constipation in pregnancy. Step 2 is setting the therapeutic objective. Again, in this case, relief from constipation. Step 3 is making an inventory of effective groups of drugs, which in our case are either we can select from bulk forming purgatives like ispagulla, brans, psyllium. There are certain osmotic purgative which consist of saline purgatives like magnesium and sodium salts. Also there is lactulose. There are lubricant purgatives like liquid paraffin. There are surfactant purgatives like docusets, and there are certain irritant purgatives which consist of senna, bisacodine, mineral oils, and all that. So we have a big group of group that we can use in this particular condition. But which is the effective group for this particular condition among them? So here we will take into consideration our factors. If we see the efficacy, osmotic purgative and lubricant purgative are obviously more effective in this condition. Irritant purgatives are also effective, but they should not be given in pregnancy. Now going into the safety, obviously among the osmotic purgatives, saline purgatives are to be avoided because they can cause electrolyte imbalance, but lactulose can be selected. So, keeping in mind the safety and tolerability, lactulose and liquid paraffin can be given for shorter duration of constipation. Next up is suitability. So, both lactulose and liquid paraffin are available as oral syrups. And cost of treatment. So, if we compare them both, then liquid paraffin you will find is comparatively cost effective. So here comes our last step, choosing a P drug. So obviously we'll choose liquid paraffin. So syrup liquid paraffin, it is given 30 ml at bedtime once a day till constipation is relieved. So here is how you'll select a P drug. Thank you very much. Stay safe and stay home.